Good afternoon. My name is Intan Chen. I am the Chief Operating Officer of the University of Chicago Hong Kong campus. I've been working with the school for 23 years now in various campus locations in London, Singapore, and Hong Kong, overseeing our campus operations and the executive MBA program in Asia and Europe. Welcome to our third Trailblazer Forum with Vivian Kong. It is wonderful to see everyone here today. And we also have the audience joining us online. Welcome. Before I start, I would like to thank Vivian Kong for coming here today to speak to us. There may be some aspiring Olympians in the audience. Anyone who wish to be an Olympian, if you are here, here is your chance to find out how to become one. I would also like to thank our moderator and alumni, Grace So, who is contributing her valuable time to be with us here today. Last but not least, we are very thankful to our Hong Kong campus team who organized and orchestrated this event. Hong Kong is the home of the University of Chicago campus in Asia, where the university built upon its rich tradition of cutting-edge research, world-class education, and deep institutional collaborations globally. Our Hong Kong campus is home to Chicago Booth Executive MBA program, Executive Education, College Study Abroad, the Polsky Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation, and the Rustandi Center for Social Sector Innovation. This Trailblazer Forum is a dedicated leadership forum that connects our Hong Kong campus with the communities in Asia. We are bringing senior thought leaders across a variety of industries and disciplines to share their journey and insight with you. We encourage you to visit our campus website at www.uchicago.hk, subscribe to our e-news, and follow our social media channels for our latest program. That's the QR code. Please scan it. Would be great if you post this event on social media later and tag our account with hashtag Trailblazer Forum. Thanks so much. Without further ado, I would like to introduce our moderator, Grace So, Booth Alumni MBA class of 1991. Grace is founder and CEO of Active Kids Limited. Active Kids is the market leader specializing in providing innovation and interactive educational programs in Hong Kong and Shanghai. Grace is also the founder and CEO of the Children's Museum of Hong Kong, a non-profit enterprise which provides impactful children's education and sponsoring underprivileged children to educational programs in Hong Kong. Grace was born and raised in Hong Kong. She received her Bachelor of Science degree in Structural Engineering honors from Brown University, and she also has her MBA from the University of Chicago Booth School of Business. We are super proud of her. Grace was an avid college tennis player, maybe also an aspiring Olympian in tennis. She came from a sports family with her father and family members, contributing over 50 years in promoting sports in Hong Kong. As the chairman of Hong Kong Table Tennis Association, president of Hong Kong Ski Association, as well as the honorary vice president of the Hong Kong Olympics Committee. Grace, thanks again for being our moderator today. Over to you.
Hi, everyone. It's great to be here in this beautiful campus in this afternoon. I am a proud alum of U of Chicago. This campus is much nicer in winter than the winter back in Chicago at this time. It's just too cold there for me. Well, today we have an Olympian here. We have a lot to learn from her, and I'll just quickly introduce. So Vivian Kong Manhwa is a Hong Kong épée fencer, two-time individual Asian champion, and two-time Olympian. There are many firsts. She was the first fencer from Hong Kong to win any bout at the Olympics. She was the first fencer for Hong Kong to win an FIE World Cup. She was the first fencer to win a World Championship medal for Hong Kong in 2019. As an athlete, she has endured a lot of many trials and tribulations, including 2 major knee injuries in 2017 and 19. But her incredible resilience pulled through, and she finished in 2018 and 19 season, ranking as the #1 fencer in the world. This is incredible. Vivian firmly believes in promoting Olympics values and social awareness for unity in diversity through sports. After competing in 2016 Rio Olympics, she was further inspired by the power of sport to contribute to humanity and peace. She hopes to utilize sports as a platform for her public profile and to raise awareness for social issues and support charities. Not only is Vivian a full-time athlete on the Hong Kong team, she has a Bachelor's of International Relations degree from Stanford University, also a master's degree in Chinese law from the Renmin University of China. She is also currently doing a Juris Doctor JD degree in Chinese University of Hong Kong. So without further ado, please join me to welcome this very accomplished, amazing talent, Miss Vivian Kong. I won't try to stand next to her. She's way too tall. Anyway, Vivian, welcome. We're completely thrilled to have you here today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor, and it's so lovely to see everyone. Thank you for coming, and also this beautiful campus. Thank you, University of Chicago. And I hope I won't be too embarrassing this afternoon.
No, you have to help me not to be embarrassed because, I'm shy to interview an Olympian. Anyway, first of all, a lot of people are urging and want to know why fencing.
So fencing is the best sport in the world for me. I love it. I've always loved to fight. I actually was really passionate about Taekwondo when I was 3, but my mom always wanted me to be a ballerina, and that was completely different from being a ballerina. And then eventually my dad was like, oh, why don't we try fencing? Fencing is inspired. Actually, ballet was inspired by fencing. It's like the moves. It's very graceful. So I tried fencing, and I was really lucky. I met the Hong Kong team coach, and he was looking for to recruit new fencers, and he picked me. And I was really lucky. I got to train with the best girls in Hong Kong, and then until today.
And did you learn it in school? Did you just pick it up you went to Shatin College, right? Did you just pick it up there?
It was one of those, there was a banner, like a community, those like the Get Sing these the Next Star program. So they were trying to recruit and promote fencing to the community.
So the Sports Institute is doing a good job. That's good. So why did you pick épée?
So épée is the most traditional form of fencing. We wear the whole white uniform, and whoever hits first gets the point, and it doesn't matter if whoever, so there's less of a, like the judge plays a lesser role, because you just have to be very careful and just hit first and not get hit.
So compared to foil and saber, do you see yourself having an advantage in that? Because does being left-handed or being so tall being an advantage?
I think fencing is a very inclusive sport. We come in all shapes and sizes, because there's always something that you're stronger at. There's something you're weaker at. For example, I'm really tall, but I'm less quick on my feet, and I have bad knees. So I get hit really easily because I have a bigger target, even though I'm longer. So when I fence maybe smaller, quicker fencers, it's more difficult for me to be as agile. But it's also, I think that's the beauty of this sport, because you can always find your strengths and get better when you find your weaknesses.
So when did you, growing up, you saw this banner, you started to do fencing. When did you find that this is the sport that you want to devote in? How did, from the mom side, how does this happy girl, always happy and smiley, to find something that she loves so much?
Yeah, I was never really the best at anything. I wasn't good at singing. I wasn't good at abacus. I wasn't good at Kumon. But my parents still loved me and they didn't care. They were just like, as long as we have a happy, healthy girl, and they wanted me to do sports so that I could like get stronger physically because I was a little like weak physically. And then for fencing, it was always like an after school activity. So there was no pressure. It was a very productive way to procrastinate. So for example, after school, I can't like study right away. So I would go fencing and I loved it. It was always fun. It was always relaxing and it helped me become, it was a very good balance with school. And it wasn't really until I graduated and then hurt my knee and then realized that I never really gave it my all. Like I love this sport so much, but I never trained as hard as I could have. And I was really regret not having won any like gold medals at the international level. Like I was really close at that time. I won some silver, won some bronzes, but then never gold. And then I hurt my knee. And at that time I thought I would have like my whole life to fence. I would have tons of opportunities, tons of chances to fence or like get better. But at that moment, it was like, nope, you might never be able to enjoy the sport anymore. So that was like a very big turning point for me.
Pressure something even more when you're about to lose it, and but you make good use of it and turn it up and turn up the game, right? So how old were you when you first started fencing?
11.
11. So when you had the knee injury, it was when you were 20 or
22.
So you had 9 years of playing before and was successful. Or doing, I guess, school games and all that, right?
I could have been better. I was like a very lazy athlete. Looking back, I didn't have the best attitude.
So at that turning point, you decided, okay, I'm going to give it all. How do you see the training different? I mean, what's your normal training day now? And when you go backwards, how was the training then when you were on the Hong Kong, just regular training versus when you're maybe training abroad? What's the difference?
So when I was younger, I really relied on my coach and also like my teammates. Like if they would come to training, I would like, yes, I would be more excited to go. But if they wouldn't go to practice, I would be like, oh, I don't want to go to. And then when I went, or also at competitions, I would really need my coach to like watch me, to tell me what to do. But then when I went to university, it was very much independent and it was about like trying to fit in, to balance, and also like work with my teammates and be like, when can we train? So sometimes it would be 6 a.m. or like 9 p.m. so that we could get everyone together to train. And it was really hard in university because people you find your passions. There's like a lot more stuff you're interested in, you're passionate about. And then fencing's just like maybe a lot of people decide that they don't want to be so serious about fencing. So that was also like a time for me to think about how much I like want to dedicate my time, and when I had like other interests, like if I still want to put fencing as a priority.
What made you decide to do that? And the training style, is it different from Hong Kong to, I assume when you say training, it's at Stanford at the varsity team level. So how is that different?
It's really fun. Everyone, I think the style in the US it's very creative. Everyone has a very special and unique style. But then especially Asian fencers, we have a tendency to be very proper, very, there's like, when they're on the strip, you can tell the strip is like the place we fence on. This person is like from which country. So, but then in the US, you like see all sorts of fencers. So it was really, really fun. And I also got to fence with some more like senior fencers. So like, these people are like maybe in their like 40s, 50s or 60s, even 70s. And it was like really fun to fence with them because
competitively,
they were in training also. Yeah. Because they could have like injuries on their left arm, but they would still fence with their right arm, and which is like something we don't usually do, just because they just love the sport so much, and it's really fun, and we scream and like ah, and it reminded me a lot about like how fun the sport is, and that it's a sport I can enjoy until I'm 70, 80, 90 years old.
Okay, so I guess Hong Kong training and then Stanford training, and then you were at number 50 around that time. Is it after Stanford?
Yeah.
Then you have Coach Taffy. Where did
Mm.
Coach Taffy came about, and how could he project you from number 50 to number 1?
Yes, if Tavi's watching, he's amazing. He has a PhD in fencing and sports. He has like 400 books at home about fencing. Like he actually studies fencing. He's so knowledgeable. He's so wise, and he knows my strengths and weaknesses. And he's just given me a lot of new thoughts and understanding about fencing as sport, and also how to be like a good person. I think that's what all my coaches have taught me through fencing and through being a really good role model. Role models that you can be more than just a good fencer.
That is so important, just to have him as a technically very skilled coach and also a mentor in life, right? Because, you know, being a good person, having good sportsmanship is number one, I think, that's the Olympian spirit, right? So at what point after Stanford, at what point did you decide, okay, I'm going to go full-time sports?
Almost right after, because I tore my ACL right after graduation. So that was when I had to sit down and think like, okay, I need a lot of time to recover. And this isn't the end of my fencing career, and I know I can do better. I know I can train harder. So that was when I decided that I will become a full-time athlete.
That's quite a bold move, because a lot of times when you have an injury, when you're crippled, you may not be as good as what you had want to be. So that's a very determined, mission in your own life that you want to pursue.
Yeah, but I think because I'm really lucky and also grateful, I had an amazing team, like the best doctors, the physiotherapist, my mom, like the food and just everything to like make me like get better and give me the faith and confidence to recover, and that no, I can become better than I ever been.
So did you have a lot of pig's tendon and deer tendon
No.
cure your full damage ACL?
Yeah, like my relatives wanted me to eat those tendons, but I turned vegan after because I did lots of research, and it was like plant-based diet can help with the inflammation, with the pain. So I decided to go vegan.
At that time also?
Yeah.
Okay, so was the Game Changer out at that time?
No.
Oh, so you are a pioneer.
Nah, I'm okay.
My husband tried to be a vegan, but after watching the Game Changer, but it only lasted for, I think, maybe 2 weeks, because he gets so tired after not having meat or dairy products or anything. So how has a vegan diet helped you, and what do you actually eat?
Tofu and strawberries. I have strawberry socks today. I love tofu and strawberries. But also I think it's made me a lot happier as a person too, because I get really grateful and for little things, like if the vegetables are fresh and yummy, then I'm just like really happy. And also I don't have as many choices. So I think there was a study that if we have more choices, it sometimes makes you less happy with your choice, because you might think that like, oh, if I had chosen something else, it would have been better. But because I'm vegan, I don't have to read the whole menu. I can just, yeah. And also the only problem is you get hungry really quickly. And so I have to eat all the time. And really happy with all the food I get to eat. I actually have lots of options like the mushrooms, the tofu, the beans. It sounds really bad, but it's actually really great. Thank you, Mom. Yeah, she cooks for me.
Your mom must be very worried when you have to be at that level of doing physical endurance work and not eating so well, right? So
Yeah, she gets lots of pressure from like even my coach would always like, oh, eat some eggs. Yeah, but I'm okay.
well, a lot of world athletes, Nadal is pescatarian and Djokovic is a vegan also. The world's strongest man, it's also a vegan. So it's a proven success for not eating any meat to be able to endure. So how many times do you eat a day? You said you have to eat many meals.
Yeah, like right currently I haven't been having a really good appetite because I'm a little bit stressed because I have exams coming up, but so then also like in competitions I always if I get stressed you like don't get hungry, so around like 4 times a day, but yeah, a little afternoon snack.
So you brought that up, stress. How do you manage and how do you juggle and prioritize your time and all that?
I think everything like the things that I'm stressed about, for example, like today, trying to entertain and be like interesting. I think it's all like meaningful for me. It's something that I want to do well. So that's why I'm stressed. But I can always learn. I can always get better. I think that's what's most important if we have like a growth mindset, because that was actually my freshman year first class with Professor Carol Dweck. We studied about like growth mindset, fixed mindset, and especially with sports. We just have knowing that you can always do better, that there's always like ways to work harder, and it's not about talent, about like I'm bad at math and that's it. As long as like I'm getting better, it's okay.
Okay. So your mindset is extremely strong then, from you injured yourself. I'm going to be an Olympian from like, I'm stressed. I'm just going to stay positive. I mean, how do you meditate or what techniques do you do to make yourself in a better, more comfortable space?
I stress eat strawberries. So I recently bought like 5 packets of strawberries, and also when I was in college, in university, my roommate would also buy me strawberries because it always makes me like happier. But that's just like a healthy way to feel better. But of course, stress eating is never good. But I think fencing has always been the best way for me to balance my academic stress. And if I'm stressed at fencing, then I would try to like, just try to remind myself that I'm really lucky to be able to do what I do, to have so much support, to have know that like I'm actually really lucky to like even experience stress. So there's nothing I should complain about, and that I should just work really hard and see what happens.
Okay, that's a line. Feel lucky to be stressed. That's amazing. We all have to take that to heart. When you're stressful, I'm just so lucky, right? Okay. So right before a game, Olympic Games or World Cup or something, how do you need to be in a room by yourself for a minute or 5 hours or something? How do you prepare for that moment?
I like being in nature, especially being outside of the venue. Our venue is indoors. There's usually lots of air conditioning and lots of sweat and fencers everywhere. So I like, for example, this beautiful campus, I would like go out and look at trees or look at babies. I love babies and they're so cute. And then they remind you like to see like the beauty and wonder of the world, like the way they see the world, and just know that what I'm doing right now is just, it's fun. Like I shouldn't be stressed, but I will still be stressed.
Such a positive person. It's incredible. You're inborn with that. So, but so when you were doing all these things, studying, playing, the best sport and all that. How do you juggle your time? Because Stanford is not particularly an easy school. Same or higher caliber as Chicago. Same, in the same caliber of schools that are so demanding. How do you manage school and sports and social life? And do you miss out in something that you really wish that, oh, maybe I shouldn't do fencing, I should go out on this date?
Yes, I feel I'm a very bad friend. And I'm really lucky and really grateful. My friends, they're so understanding. Because when I really don't, I usually, if I'm really stressed, I really like just lock myself in and just do whatever. It's like studying or fencing. I'm always doing one or the other. And when you talk about Stanford, one of the essay questions when I applied was what matters to you most and why. And when I was 17, and applied, I wrote time because I thought, like, I was actually like your question. I said time was most important to me because I never feel like I have enough time to do my best at either fencing or school or my social life or spend with my friends and family. Like there's always something I'm missing out on or sacrificing. But then now that I look back, I think that it was this balancing, this juggling that really could bring out the best in me because it forced me to like really prioritize, to really know what matters to me, and to spend my time according to my values. And then if that's how I like manage my time, then it's like my own decision. Like I have to be responsible for it and to just try and do the best that I can.
Wow. So when you were, at your lowest, your biggest challenge, what is your biggest difficulty in life? What's your biggest challenge?
I used to say the knees injuries, but then I was thinking about this more recently, and I think the lowest or the toughest time was when I was that one day when I received my college admission results, because at the time we could only apply to 6 schools in my high school. And I really wanted to go to the US because I wasn't sure what I wanted to study. I really liked the idea of a liberal education to like just study more because I was interested in so many things. So I was like, I really wanted to go to the US. And also the admission process it felt more personal because it's like, because they asked me questions about, it was like a holistic sort of, it wasn't about like what was your final IB score, and then you would get in no matter what. I felt like they wanted to know who I am as a person. And I also wasn't confident that I could do well in the exams. So I was like, what? They should like want to know more about me, right? So I applied to 5 US schools. And on that one day, all 4 of them rejected or waitlisted me. And it all happened like within like one like few hours. So I was so sad and so like devastated because, and also I was home like alone, like my parents weren't there, but it was I also like, if they were there, I don't know how I would have, I don't know, it just felt like such a personal like rejection because I thought like I was interesting, but like none of them liked me, and it was just I was really, really sad. And then, but I was able to be like, it's okay. Maybe I can try and go to the US some other time or like stay in Hong Kong. And
You didn't apply to U of Chicago, right?
no, I didn't. Sorry, maybe I would. Yeah, because it was only because University of Chicago didn't have a fencing team. That's why I didn't apply. But I actually visited and I loved the campus. Very beautiful, very windy, and the architecture was gorgeous. So yeah, but I was so it felt like this because my whole like I worked so hard like throughout school, and my teachers and everyone was like so supportive, and they were like, yes, and I like had fencing, like it was like I felt like I wasn't that bad, but then yeah, nobody wanted me, and then so
that was the toughest. So growing up, who is there a person who impacted you the most? Who's your biggest influencer? Maybe when you were growing up, and then when you're training, or throughout your life, do you have particular
I would say my mom because she's here today, but also even if she wasn't here today, it's she like I'm her personal project. She has given all her love, her time, her effort, her expectations, her dreams and hopes. I think she's given all of her attention to me. And I've always, I think, had a lot of pressure being an only child that being her personal project, I really have to do well. But
I wish my kids would say the same about me, but it's impossible.
I'm sure they're very, very lovely. And then even though I wasn't the best at like singing, abacus, or math, or all these other things she taught, like sent me to learn to like get to be like a dancer or whatever, she still like loved me. It was like unconditional, and even though I could feel the pressure, but I think she's given me like a lot of room and support to grow and to make my own choices. Like even though she's not supportive of me being a fencer, even till today, like she constantly reminds me that this is not a proper career, that I should be doing serious things. Like she still like will make good food and make sure I'm healthy and I can fence.
So she's completely supportive. I mean, it sounded like you did abacus, you did other things, you did I don't know, ballet and ice skating. So she offered you a whole range of activities for you to choose from. And you saw this banner on the side of the street and you decided, okay, forget about those. I'm gonna go fencing.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. I know that you, well, besides getting a degree from Stanford and then another degree, the master's in law degree from the Renmin University of China, now you're doing a JD at the Chinese U. Why law? I mean, how does law fit into this whole journey?
I'm not exactly sure yet, but I'm very interested in law because of justice, and also maybe it's a lot of like fencing, like you have two sides and you just try your best to give a good argument, to fence your best, and to also try to just like I really like the thinking process, the way they lawyers have to think, which I'm actually really struggling with because usually you just have a gut feeling of what's right or wrong or what's just or not, but then there's actually like a proper language and like cases to like really have evidence and to make sure, and things are not as simple and easy as it seems. And this is something that I'm really like bad at because I realize that being an athlete, we have a very like simple and like sheltered and naive, well, at least I do, I'm sure it's just me, of the world. And I just want to be more like intelligent and wise.
That's a good path to take. I think all of us need to have that goal in mind. We all want to be more intelligent and wise. So one of your charter in life is to promote Olympics value, right? And also to bring people to be more aware about diversity, unity within diversity. How did you put it? Unity in diversity, right? So how can you elaborate on that thinking and how are you going to do it?
I think sports is something that we can all participate in and understand really well. It's like a universal language. We can easily empathize with the athletes or with the process, or kind of imagine the hard work that has to, like, you have to put in to be there on stage or like to perform. And a very easy way to like communicate, to like unite on things that most that we can share, because there's so many things that we can disagree on in the world, but sports or like the values is something that's very universal. That's something that we can all agree on. And also it offers like a very short period of like distraction and entertainment for people to have, like, for example, in news, when we watch the daily news, like sports is always lighthearted. Even if you win or lose, it's something that people can always get some benefit out of. And it's easy to think of sports as like a zero-sum game because there's always someone who wins, someone who loses. But I think it's such a good way to be able to see that winning isn't everything, especially at the Olympics. There's so much more to it. The stories behind it, just the process, the work, the stories. That's something that's very emotional, and it's like beautiful, and it's just like a very ideal like way to look at the world.
Yeah, I think definitely, sports is so important in all, not just at the Olympian level, but at all levels, even from kindergarten to primary school to all that. I run a children's program, and I think that, being fair and good sportsmanship is so important because some of the parents nowadays, for the sake of getting a trophy or whatnot, they would give the wrong message or the good or the wrong values to the kids, which I think is so damaging for them in life. But, good thing you have Coach Taffy, who is a very noble mentor and all that. So you're in good place. So I think in Hong Kong, in our tiny little place, Hong Kong, we did extremely well in recent years with sports, from fencing, from swimming, from table tennis, from martial arts, from even we have qualifiers to the Olympics for skiing. So how do you see the Hong Kong sports arena developing? What needs to be done? What else do we need to do, and how do we promote better?
Like what you said before with parents and how they treat sports, and what role that plays in making sure that kids can really enjoy sports and know like these values, that it's more than collecting medals to get into a good primary school or secondary school, and that that you can really let them enjoy, let them play. I know that sounds like very like cliche, very but it's like at the end of the day, we don't like need everyone to become full-time athletes, right? Because there's just so many lessons you learn from sports, so many life lessons that make you become a better, stronger, tougher person so that you can face any kind of adversity. Just being able to have the opportunity to let kids, or let, even if like you guys, everyone, to just remember to do more sports and enjoy sports. And that's enough. Like, and then I think it's like the best way to like be able to like bring more positivity, because it can be very personal. You can just see yourself improving. Like you can see yourself lifting heavier weights, or getting healthier and becoming like a better posture. And that's like already like what you want the most from sports.
Right. So as you're growing older, and how do you see yourself professionally growing, and also personally, how would you like to develop as a person and athlete?
I hope I can use my like sports, my passion for sports, and for kids. I really like kids, and my platform, or like my voice, to have. So I'm very grateful for these questions, to really be able to share like my values, what I care about, and what I hope more people can care about, and also be able to graduate and become smarter, and be able to be a good role model for kids. Because when I visit schools and like little kids tell me, like little girls who are like 7 years old tell me that they're really proud of me, it's just so sweet. It's different from when teachers, or like people who are like senior, like professors, or like family, to tell when they say they're proud of you. But when a kid tells you that they're proud of you, like in their mind what you're doing is cool, or is worthy, I think that's what really like keeps me going.
Okay. Do you have any particular advice for our U of C students?
I think being in school is just so amazing, so lucky. University of Chicago must treat all the students really well. And everyone's like, you're surrounded by like amazing friends and teachers and professors that all want you to become a better person. Just being really grateful for the time, and because it goes by so quickly, because and especially with everything, like there's the uncertainty after COVID, just being very like grateful and just also hopeful. I think being an athlete has taught me to be hopeful no matter what, like not in the naive kind of sense, but just because whenever I travel to a competition, there's only one champion at the end of the day, but there's like 175 people, 200 people, or like even more people who don't get to travel, who are working just really hard, even harder than you are, just so they have a chance to go compete. Or like, but we're not like, we still go, like, even though we know there's only one person who wins. I think the hopefulness comes in just being that, like, you work hard and that it's something you do, you love, and whatever happens, like happens. Just the process, just like trying to be the best that you can be is really like what's most important.
So I guess it's to be hopeful, to work really hard, to think stress, to be smiling and happy like yourself, eat strawberries, and also to be to think stress as a form of being lucky. I think that would be something that wraps up some of the conversation we have. I think right now we're gonna open the floor to some questions, if we have questions. Oh. Yep.
Well, first of all, thank you, Vivian, for sharing your experience with us. I do consider you are a much needed beacon of hope for the people of Hong Kong. That's why I came. But I'd like to ask you a question about your participation in the Olympics. As you said, winning is not all, Olympics is more than about winning. But was there a time that you said to yourself, I'm going to go for gold? And if so, I mean, did you make up a plan for it? What did you do? Do you prepare yourself psychologically, physically, and skill-wise? And, I'd like to know more about your Olympic journey. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I really like your socks. Thank you for your question. I think for the Olympics, for the first time I went, it was 2016 in Rio. And at that time, I almost didn't qualify until like the very last moment, because for the qualification process, you have to go to all the World Cups and have a high enough ranking to qualify. And then when I qualified, it felt like, oh, mission complete. Like all I wanted to do was to qualify and to participate. And then in Hong Kong, and then like the way the media reported, and also like everyone's support, it was like, wow, like she won the first bout in Hong Kong, to like first person from Hong Kong to win a bout at the Olympics. And I was just so like, and then I lost after the second bout, and I realized that I felt really bad, because I felt like I should have had a bigger dream, a bigger goal. It shouldn't just be to participate. I want to make Hong Kong proud. I want to make people happy. And to do that, like, you have to win. I mean, yes, like winning isn't everything, but like nobody wants to see the news and that you're like crying because you lost. So then after that, and then what happened? And then I have finished the 1 year of school, my last year of university. And because my parents weren't very supportive of the athletic career, so it was like, oh, find a proper job. And then I had the knee injury. So that was when I decided that I needed to work much harder, and that from the last Olympics experience, I knew I can do better. But then there was the knee issue. So I like just at that time, the goal became just to recover, just to be able to fence again, to enjoy the sport again. And it wasn't about the winning anything at the Olympics. But then just throughout the process, just like preparing, just training really, really hard. And then I happened to like have the best results I've ever had in my life. Up until then, when I was ranked #1 in the world going into the Olympics. And then we had COVID, so it was like extended another year. But at that time I had very high expectations for myself, because I was ranked #1 in the world. And then the aunties and uncles would be like, if you're ranked number one, this means you're going to win, right? Like, even if you don't win, you will come in top 3 because you're number one in the world. And I said, I guess if you like, if you put it that way. But I think that's the beauty of sports. Like, there are so many surprises. There's so many things you can't control other than being like your best.
It's so much harder going in as such a strong player because everyone will be studying you. They know your every move. So, I mean, you're not an underdog. It's so much harder to be the one of the number one. So
Thank you. Yeah. And I felt really good too. I felt very fit. And then I tore my other knee ACL. So that was like a disaster because but then because I had the first knee experience, I knew like I couldn't come back, but there was like it was really rushed because I had like less than a year until 2020. And then we had COVID. And then COVID put everything into perspective because it turns out that like nobody cares at that time, I thought nobody would care because there are more important things in the world than the Olympics, than winning. So at that time we had I think we didn't have any competitions at all for almost a year. And then the first competition was the Olympics. Even until the day before, because I competed on the first day and the opening ceremony, like the day before the opening ceremony, there was an article that said, oh, the Olympics might still be canceled at the last moment. So I still wasn't even sure if it was happening. Like, I was on the bus going to the venue, about to compete, and I was like, is this happening? Is this really happening? And is what I'm doing actually meaningful? Like, does this matter? And then I think the results we had as like the Hong Kong team in general, and the amount of positivity and like good news it generated was just so like out of, I think, everyone's expectations at a time when there's just so much sadness and difficulty in the world, that it really gave me perspective on like the power of the unity and diversity of sports, like these values, that it can give people hope. But that goes back to preparing for so that's why like, I really want to win, but at the same time, there's a lot of things I can't control. So the only thing I can do is just to work really hard and try to be able to bring out like the good, even when situation is tough.
that's very good. One question.
Thank you, Vivian. So I'm in HR field, so I meet with a lot of people. And also I'm an author. I study success and I study excellence. And I think you have such a wonderful personality. I talked to a lot of athletes as well, but I think you really have this positivity and such a wonderful personality. My question is, number one, do you think that this positivity, your sense of competitiveness and ability to recover from setback, is it like from very early of your childhood, or this is like you train over time? I noticed that you mentioned about Carol Dweck mindset, right? I have her book, but I think you learn directly from her. So that's number one. When do you think you develop this kind of personality? Number two, I also know that some athletes they are very successful because you are very positive. The other athletes who are very successful, they develop from needs and anger and determination to be successful, like Mike Tyson, Michael Jordan and all that. In your opinion, do you think which one will be more successful? Those who are I'm sure they all have passion, right? Which one is more successful? Those who are happy doing it, or those who are angry and want to be the best in doing it? Thank you.
Thank you. I've actually thought a lot about this question because I've always never thought of myself as a very competitive person, or like definitely not an angry person. But I am so involved in such an angry competitive sport because if any of you have watched fencing, there's a lot of screaming or like being angry at the like the referee or like the coach. But I think, of course, I would say like be happy and enjoy the process, and it's more sustainable because but I think when I had the injury, I was very angry. I felt very angry at myself. I was very frustrated, and it gave me a very big boost of like determination and competitiveness, just to prove to myself that I'm back, or that I'm stronger than before. But at the same time, there was also a lot of, also I think at Stanford, also before, and also because being rejected and waitlisted by all these schools, I had a very like strong like case of imposter syndrome. Like I've never thought, like, especially with like everyone being so kind and all these praises and compliments, I don't think of myself as good as what you guys have like described me as. So it gives me like something for me to work harder to like actually like fit these expectations or descriptions. So I'm like very embarrassed. But also the first question was about when did I get the mindset or think that
all this positivity and
I
I see you
actually
very
cry
picture-
all the time. I'm not that positive. It's just I think being an athlete or being like having the opportunity to like talk to people or like be able to like try and inspire is, I have a duty to be positive. Like I don't want to be like spreading like telling you guys about my pains and like sufferings, but I know we get as athletes, we get like these attention and empathy because you guys imagine that we've gone through a lot, like all these struggles that you've had to face and to overcome in order to be where we are. But I think that's only after I actually win something. I think that's when I deserve to like share or like complain about my life. But right now there's really, I can't complain. Like I'm supposed to like suffer. I'm supposed to work hard. I'm supposed to sweat. This is something I'm really lucky and grateful to be able to do. Like I've had the really lucky and like privilege to be able to do an internship recently at the chambers, and I realized that having a proper like working is so tiring. Like just sitting like in 4-hour meetings, like the back and just and the brain and the stress. Yeah, and I'm like I really just everyone's working so hard. No matter like whatever field or whatever job we're doing, everyone's just trying really hard. And for sports, it's like simple, it's easy. We're supposed to be happy. Like if we win, yay. Like if we lose, then we'll try again.
I think what makes you really special is that you self-reflect a lot, because you figure out like, okay, why am I doing this? Okay, do I go and continue to be an athlete, or do I just stay home and cry? And you're always figuring out your very clearly in your mind what you do. So it's not just by luck that you're lucky, that you're happy and all that. So there's a lot of thinking process that's going. And I think that, with the sports world, now that, sports psychology and sports coaching is there to support professionals, I think that really helps for people who are less strong-minded and who has the talent to go forward. Yeah, I think so. Sorry, we have one question here first and then another one back there. Okay. One with the blue pants first. Person with the blue pants. Sorry.
Yes. Okay, they're blue. So just play golf. So thanks, Vivian. That's very interesting. And I'm alum, so I can ask from a more Chicago perspective. Right. One of the things that you decided not to apply to Chicago because there was no fencing, which is a good point. And I always thought that we should, now we have more resources to put more money into sports, especially competitive sports. But from your previous experience, looking back, when you were in college, you must have spent a lot of time trying to play, fence for Stanford or play for varsity. And at that moment, have you ever thought about dropping out? Like a lot of the super athlete, they just think, I study, I get an A, so what, right? If I win, I get on the paper, I get interview, I get on the stage. It's much more glamorous and much more rewarding. And then your career as a fencer, it's very short. you cannot fence till you can fence for fun till you're 70, but for competitive, you only have a few years. So maybe you can share a little bit of that so that, you know, some of the parents or the potential athletes can think about. Thank you.
Yeah. I think yes, definitely. When I was in school, so many of my teammates dropped out at this first year, after the first year or the second. Every year there would be more fencers dropping out and pursuing their like other passions or whatever, like academic or like career wise. It did make me, but I never thought about it because I just really enjoyed the sport but definitely didn't see it as a career as well. Because like you said, it's not sustainable and I'm not someone who's likes the glamorous or the stage or like the attention. And I think I've always wanted to pursue a career in service, like being able to like do like good or like just have a very like be able to help more people and do something like meaningful. And I didn't see sports was just so like egotistical because you're always thinking about yourself. You're always thinking about how I feel today, if I'm fit or not, what should I eat? And it didn't feel like there was a bigger purpose or meaning. But I think it's taught me so much in life and everything. And I've never thought that it could like bring me to like be able to sit here to speak about fencing or like about sports, or even like you said about what I can share to parents about how they see sports. I think there's really no pressure in like what you see, like what you can get out of it. I think just participating in it is that's it. Like you just want to be in sports and just have something you can like de-stress, something you can enjoy, something outside of whatever work you do. It's like a very healthy lifestyle to be able to like all these positive things associated with it. That's not about results. That's not about like where will this get me? I think especially in Hong Kong, we have a very like a purpose driven, like everything there must be like some benefit, like there must be like some, I don't know, it's worth it. Whether or not something is worth it is just how you feel at the moment. Like if you feel better after sports, if you feel like you enjoy, you're a better person because of it, then that's all that matters. And whether or not you want, because when it becomes your career, like the focus is all on results. I think it's too superficial and it takes away the joy, the fun, the bigger like meaning, or like all you want from sports isn't just like the medals. You're not just collecting things.
The lady in the back.
Thank you. Finally, the ladies get a chance. Yes, so far all the men are active and asking questions, and finally the person from the last row. First of all, I wanted to say you're so humble and beautiful, and I think you deserve to be face of so many brands. Are you an ambassador for anything? Because Eileen Gu seems like she's face of everything, right? And she's also Chinese, and you know, and you being from Hong Kong, I think that's the question. Are you offered any deals, any promotions, you know, because you could be a movie star looks, right? And height, you're a model, you're intelligent, beauty with the brains. And another comment is just, I'm from Azerbaijan and I've been living in Hong Kong for a long time, but it's a big sport in Azerbaijan, fencing. And Hong Kong had a very famous Azerbaijani coach, Tahir Hakimov. I don't know if you know him. So he's my relative. His wife is my relative. So he'll be very happy to know I made it here. I came and got to talk to you. That's not a question. That's just a hi from him.
I've been to Azerbaijan too. But
Baku City.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. So the question is if you have any, your face of any watch, any company, Hollywood.
I should become a better. I'm Adidas and Olympian. That's like a fencing equipment. So they're. Yay! I'm a very bad ambassador though for them.
No, you're wearing Adidas shoes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Two questions. The first one is, this is a question from audience at home. Do you feel like giving up after losing a game? And if so, how do you deal with it?
Maybe for like 5 seconds or 1 minute. And then, because then there's just so much, because you're like thinking about how I can do better or what went wrong. and just knowing that I could have done better and realizing that there's so much more room for improvement. Because every time when I feel really good, like when training is going well, when I'm doing well, I actually don't perform well in competitions. And then because I'm just so confident in like I'm like very fit. And then when I go to competitions, like nothing works. But whenever I'm like more like less confident about how I feel and then have less expectation, I do better. So I think it's really interesting because every competition is different. You feel different, and then it's just, and then you know more about yourself because of it.
Okay, the next question is that, are you joining Olympics 2024 in Paris?
I hope so. That's the goal. Working hard.
Okay, one more question. When do you think you will retire? Not my question, audience at home.
80. I will.
80?
Yes.
Okay.
As long as my knees are great. And then, yeah, I hope everyone tries fencing sometime, or it's okay. I mean, I'm not biased. Other sports are beautiful too, are great. And it doesn't have to be fencing, but I think sports in general is just very great for the body and mind.
So we'll invite her back when she's 80 and in between from now and then.
That will be wonderful.
Okay, thank you.
100, yeah.
We have a question from this gentleman.
Hi, thanks a lot for sharing and bringing your joy of sports in the city that we need. I'm Jean-Baptiste Roy, founder of Asia Sports and Technology. I do work with a lot of athletes from around the world in helping them in their post-athlete career transitions, but also on the other side with a lot of athlete investors, which is a growing trend as we know in sports, especially to help them with that post-career transition. Of course, in the sports world, you are definitely a unicorn being Olympic athletes and holding that many degrees. It's I would say not even a 1% of pro athletes in the world of sports. And as you know, many don't have that supportive background and household around them. So as we are in a education institution, I'd like to know, what do you think that schools could help kids to support them in their, wish of being a pro athletes? As we know, there is a lot of hurdles, especially in cities like Hong Kong, where education is first. And the second thing is what other organizations like education institutions could do to help athletes during their career, to help them with their post-career transition.
Thank you. Merci.
We have Coach Greg as well. He's not from Azerbaijan, but he did give a lot to Hong Kong.
Big champion. I think that, like you said, in Asia and Hong Kong, education is definitely like the part. Even for me growing up, my parents would always emphasize like school is the most important. You have to get into a good school, definitely school. But then like we know that there's so much that we can learn from sports, and if children really want to think about like a career in sports, especially for some sports, you have to like when you're young, it's like a very important age that's the only time you can really like pursue your sport. I think schools definitely have to have like a more flexible like approach to like times and when they can have class. I know for Sports Institute, we have like some partnership with schools that allow them to have a more flexible like scheduling. And also I think with COVID, there's the Zoom classes have been very helpful and has given a very like a new way of studying and learning for all of us, especially for me when I travel and I can try and like have Zoom classes now. It doesn't affect it as much. Of course, like it's better to be in class and see people's faces. But for sports, I think that when I was young, the hardest part was trying to like be able to go to school and compete. Whenever I went to competitions, I would have to miss like 4 days of school, and it was really hard to catch up. And my teachers would stay after class to help me, or my friends will help me take notes. And I was really lucky to be able to have their support. But for now, for like children, if they have like a better way of being able to balance that would be very helpful. And also what was the other about transitioning career?
that's where I'm sure Chicago has a lot of, and Booth has a lot of athletes that are supporting through that. So we'd love to hear some stories as well.
I think for me right now, let's see. When closer to the Olympics, it will be harder. But when there's still time until then, like having the opportunity to like have internships, to like see like what's it like in other careers and their fields has been very eye-opening for me. It's given me a lot of perspective, and just to like realize that sports is so, like being an athlete is so simple, as in like what I do every day is very easy. It's something I enjoy, and I don't have like, it's just like, because all these years until we retire, maybe that's the only exposure or experience we've had. But if there are opportunities that we can have like some internship experience or like once or twice a week, or so, for example, the internship I had, they were very nice and understanding, and I would go like half a day, and then in the afternoons I would do my whole training sessions. But it was really hard to balance because I also had school, and then but I like learned a lot, and it helped me like decide if I wanted to be a lawyer, if my grades are good enough, or like what's it like to be like an adult in the world.
I think that when children are young, a lot of it has to go from the parents, the parents' mindset need to change in order for, more people to be doing sports. You're very lucky to have very open-minded, even though school is number one, but, sports is also number one. And so parents' mindset is very important. And in terms of the development in Hong Kong, a lot of times when you have results, you get funding. So hopefully with the recent, good results, we'll have more funding for the sports arena.
For the sports under the SI, yes.
One more question from audience at home. Do you watch the World Cup, and who are you cheering for?
I've been studying and training, so I haven't really been watching, but I saw the Korean and what was the other team?
Japan.
Who are you guys supporting? No, the most important thing is sportsmanship, excellence, friendship, respect, all these values. It's not about the teams.
Good answer. So I guess with that's all the questions. We thank you so much. Such a young talent, and a happy personality. So I'm so glad that we're all here. And thank you to U of Chicago for giving us this opportunity for the Trailblazer event. Thank you,
Thank you
Vivian.
so much. Thank you.